Greetings, Special Operations and Arcturian Star Council here reporting. Actually, this is an unusual video where I am going to explain to you what happened, what inspired this. And this is actually 13 years old, so there's nothing new here. So not to get extra attention, this is to get valuable and to get conscious attention. That's why we're doing this. And that's why others in the field work the same. Respect goes out to Melissa and Billy. Phenomenal work on the conscious level, because we have to put pieces together. And we're talking about pieces as in science. Reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is I just watched the movie Black Satellite. It's on Forbidden Knowledge TV. I don't work for them. I just find valuable, and you know, like I want the nitty-gritty. I want the spice. I've watched other channels, other conscious media network, and I got kind of like hung up on Brian Forster and Forbidden Knowledge, and because they're going into the detail if you're interested into the science. So now we're going into the science and the depth of why we're here, where we're from, where are we going, what is our purpose of being. That all entails in knowledge that was lost, books that are in the library that nobody even checks to read because nobody knows they exist. So you have to study, figure out the listing. I mean, have you ever heard of a book called The Consciousness of an Atom, written in 1914? I bet you don't. So those who do, good for you. So, how do I begin? This is a long story. Me and my extraterrestrial contact, me knowing that what I mimic in life is actually what I am in a parallel existence. I know many people, and please feel free to share this in the comment section below, woke up in stasis pod, suspended animation. They are ET, and they're projecting their consciousness to here. In this part, I'm giving you my Epsilon transmission, because I now finally have deciphered where they're from. They're from, I'm Arcturian, and very heavily related to Epsilon, which is also called Izar, also called Eridanus, derivative name of Earth, Ea, Enki, Ea, Earth, Eridu, Earth. So my findings were mind-blowing. What I have is mind-blowing, or maybe not. For those who have eyes to see will see, those who have ears to hear will hear, those who have a heart to feel will sense what I'm saying. And we all work together, and at some point I was told we'll all come together to work it out. So what I will do is I will present to you the channelings that came in. I give you a little sneak preview. The first channel came in, and you can freeze frame this, in Aramaic. And I've tried to like write it out or correct what I've written. Maybe you find stuff that I'm not even aware of. I will present to you the channelings in raw form, how they came in. And then we'll go into the section of decoding the channelings and why this is so sorely based on the Epsilon system. I don't know so much about the black satellite. It's in my conscious, it's hovering. That's not the only thing that's actually surrounding Earth. There's still stuff that we haven't noticed that's visible, but there's also stuff in the invisible spectrum that we have not found yet. And there will be a time when all this will be revealed. But we're being checked, we're being evaluated. As darkness has its play, as the void, and those who wanna, I don't know, put praises on Enlil, the Lord of command. First there was the Word, and the Word was with God. Lowercase g is Enlil, a tyrannical, actually, ruler that requires you to pray to him or he will destroy you. So he gives you commandments, but he gives you free will. So what's it going to be? See this? What they're doing with us? Like, there are no rules actually, but there are rules. So many stories I could add to this, which will go astray from actually my point. So my point is this: listen to the channelings, get into the feeling. They were for me to transmute, to bring to the world, which is I'm already in the middle of it, but you will hear them now.
To the commander sailing with his ship, from the messengers to who has the magic sand in the desert. Formula for freeing human race from captivity. You are sailing / navigating through space and time / haven. Home in space in the light of Horus under the name of the divine. Remembering home and the original purpose of Pharaoh. 14 feline beings wish to contact you. The entity has the same desire to learn as you from it. S02. You read and knock to deliberate it. You are one of us, the pioneer, the adventurer, the explorer, the discoverer. This message was sent because you're one of us. We want to meet you. Remembering home. Collective group of 14 feline beings wish to make contact with you. Transmission number 2. Don't wait. Reach out. Try to find resources. When we are one, all shall return. Memory is in the silent center. Original memory returning, correcting course. Setting the path. Be aware of distractions. They are dead-end, finite, off-path. Loop illusions. Dead-end, finite. You are on your path. In center, keep transmitting. Those who know of kin, when they remember, will be on your side. Do not worry. Do not knock on closed gates. Open is the path. Information seems displaced and chaotic and fragmented. There's a system behind it. Those who have eyes to see know what parts to connect. Only those that are clear may see. Protection of consciousness. Consciousness fragile. We require consciousness to be trained in the divine way. Only divine experience decodes what lies hidden. Linear time to us is like suspended animation. Very dense, very slow. This is about consciousness, refinement, amplification, and expansion. Whatever you are going through, you are not alone. Don't wait. Reach out. Get resources. Time is now. When things are not activated in the appropriate manner, revelation remains dormant. One must do divine steps, ask right questions, connect only pieces that have been connected before. Only then all will be revealed. Transmission ends.
So to the deciphering of the message. And there will be words missing, sentences or words are subject to interpretation. So anybody who wants to correct that or can correctly translate that, I will display the Aramaic text. And I will display the Aramaic text in detail and write it out and correct it, translations, transliterations. I do my best from what I have from people from Bahrain and people from Cairo that helped me to, I mean, they were a little bit scared. They said, this is ancient. I know it because I know the language. So the message that came to me, the first one, the Aramaic one, was basically, and you can correct me because as I'm performing that, as in memorizing the lines, things might get lost. Once they're in writing, this is all raw data. It's still subject to correction. So here's the following. It says, to the captain sailing with this ship, from the messengers who has the magic lit/hot, subject to interpretation, sand, in the desert. So first decoding is the captain sailing with a ship. So I'm in suspended animation on a ship. Okay, I'm gonna put the pieces together. People say self-fulfilling prophecy. This all could be psychologically. Well, if I'm that creative, well, wow, Hollywood, knock on my door. Anyway, which is not my interest. Then it says, to whom, from the messengers, to whom who has the magic lit or hot sand. So I work with nanoparticles, which is basically crystalline sand, very fine powder that is lit because it's photonically charged, atomically agitated, negatively ionized, it's photonically infused. I'm in the desert. That's correct. So this message is like basic, and this came 15 years before I found the photonic storage medium to actually do my work. Then it says formula for freeing from captivity/prison. So like basically like having the formula to free, I'm assuming, humans from captivity, either in the mind or prison or on a planetary energy. Again, they're addressing sailing, navigating through the portals of haven. So there are different havens. Heaven is actually the word for haven. So I have a port somewhere. The port might be Epsilon. We figure this out. Then it says home in space, light of the eye of Horus, under the name of the divine. Well, I know that the eye of Horus is referred to when you Google that as the pineal gland. So the pineal gland activated under the name of the divine, as in the divine coding, that surpasses any witchcraft and darkness and whatever people want to bring in there, because you can say the lizards can't go there. They don't have access to that. Like the plants are gatekeepers, certain kingdoms you don't have access to, not through meditation, unless you pass the divine gatekeeper. That is rule and law. So then it says remembering home and the greatness of Pharaoh. So they really addressing that we have to remember where we're from, and the Pharaoh was actually the original Magi, like a shaman king with magical powers, probably back in the days with extraterrestrial powers. I referred to myself as the Ra. Matthias Estefano mentions that the Ra priesthood was in Egypt, teaching inhabitants of Earth to further the development, to be stewards of this planet. This was a job, this was a mission, this was a divine mission, until we retreated. But that's another storyline. So some of us signed up to come back. Then 14 feline beings, which I know they're Lyran, because I had experience with being one of them at some timeline, a male. And it says something like 144 days. I don't know how this comes in here. 144 days, what that means. Then there's an entity that steps forward and says, I wanted to learn from the curse of the spell of the Roman river. This is a very, very ancient spell that has the planet asleep, which I know they call, in Africa, they call it the spell of Kingu. It's also the spell of Leviathan. So very interesting that we won't even find books that explain What does that mean? The spell of the Roman river. What's going on here? So we have to investigate. Further, it says the entity that is in contact and assisting me it has the same desire to learn as I have the desire to learn through it. So they need to buffer. So, like I learned in the download, this needs to be buffered so my brain doesn't go fritz. It doesn't fry. So then a word, Esraton. I found out that there's a temple somewhere in the Arab Emirates that where nobody's digging, nobody cares. Esraton means literally from darkness to light. This is the journey. So what's coming in here, you can say, is Esratonian. So Esraton, if you even find that, Esraton, a temple where nobody is digging, is very important from the ancient times. That explains how you go from unconscious to consciousness. You have to know these things to decipher when these downloads come in. That's why sometimes downloads can be overwhelming if you don't know the bits and pieces. And I'm a trained Rubik's Cuber, decipherer, decoder. I'm on it. I'm almost like obsessed with it because it has to be done right. Then the message further says, you are with them. You are one of us, the pioneer, the discoverer, the explorer. So the message was sent to me because I am one of them, but in a different form. Then again, it is addressed, we want to meet you. And again and again and again, over and over, also in my head, remember home. Try to remember home. So I always wondered, why is the Archangel Zadkiel in my life? Well, Zadkiel is about memory, but original memory of that which is important to your life. And as they say, don't seek past lives that don't seek you. So what is for you, you have to figure out. And I have a side note to that. So again, it is addressed again, a collective group of 14 feline beings want to contact me. I think this is an assisting team. I think they are Lyran of origin, and I'm pretty clear what's coming in. So I'm not confused here. So again, this is the Aramaic text that came in. I will put this in on a side to show you my channelings and the stuff that comes in, you know. And when people say this is all AI, this is natural intelligence trying to rectify itself. And there's a lot of projections and distortions in between. Even for me to expedite the rite of passage, that I'm the scientist from the ancient time. I'm into science, I'm a commander, I was in Atlantis, I worked on anti-gravitic ideas and nature furthering substances. So for the conspirators out there, no demon or ill intent or ill-willed being can bring a seed to flower. And there's Metatron is not a fallen system, the flower of life is not the flower of gloom, all of this stuff. If you look at the subatomic structure in nature and you see the reflection of that and you replicate that, that is what is to master this dimensional holodynamic grid. That all particles you see here, electron, photon, neutron, whatever, are photons on different levels of density. The Webster Dictionary says photon is a massless particle, but that's a non sequitur, like jumbo shrimp or military intelligence. A photon has mass. It's just at a different oscillatory rate. So it's very, very light. So these realms you can touch, these dimensions and the ethers and whatever, by math we know dimensions exist. Our brain alone needs 12 dimensions to compute neurolingual processing modes to even exist in this realm. So you're multidimensional by essence. Accessing that has to do with you being of divine memory origin, knowing that you can do so and then you may. That's what I got. So here's how I found out that my transmissions are coming from Epsilon. So they tell me I'm from Arcturus. I'm having contact. I'm in my room. They point out, go to your star map. So I'm going to my star map. And the star of Arcturus is blinking. And I see Botus. And I'm like, what's the Botus constellation? Why is Botus constellation kind of domineering my life? If you want to see, I don't know. But those who know, I also have gotten a tattoo of the Botus constellation, but kind of looks like a tie. Look, Boulter's constellation, northern hemisphere. And I'm like, why am I so up there away from the other star systems, you know, the commercial ones that everybody knows, the Orion Belt, Sirius, the Vega system, and so on, Zeta Reticulum, many in the pop chart famous star systems are out there. So they're like, you are Ran, you are Arcturus Ran. And then first I was like Arcturus Ra'an, and they said whatever in ancient days you would pronounce in many ways, Ra'an or Ra'an, or Ran. And I'm like, okay. So they're like, remember Arcturus Ran. So these are coordinates. Well, back then, 15 years ago, I wasn't aware of that. So I'm watching the movie Black Satellite, blows my mind. And then I put the pieces together. So why is it that in the ancient star system, the Arcturian sector is where it's called the shepherd? The ones that will bring the sheep home at the end of the day. Like all the races over there, the Arcturians are the shepherds. People ask me, well, don't the Arcturians have weapons, or don't they come in physical? Like imagine a race that is 1,000,000 years ahead of you. You can't fathom the level of where and what they can be, to what time, and what's significant for you, and how they have to communicate to you to not shatter you, because their truth is so powerful at such a high oscillatory rate. It's like, it's like you saying, oh, let me walk on lava for 5 minutes. You'll be gone in 5 minutes because of the vibratory state. So they have to, even from that intelligence, like imagine you trying to communicate to an ant. Not to belittle the ant, we're all creatures of the source. We all love God, but the original God, not lowercase g, capital letter G, the Lord in heaven, all the names you gave it. These are all different demigods that people pray to, that abused you and manipulated you for thousands of years and conditioned you. You got to snap out of this system. So also one message that came in over and over was, don't wait, reach out, find resources. It is imperative. I know what I'm here to set up. I said this over and over again. A space where interdimensional contact can be facilitated also by energetic spectrum. Meaning that they're telling me what's missing in most of these documentaries is the spiritual aspect of the psyche, to bring from the psyche the information, not just instrumentation, because instrumentation still is like sticks and stones and bones and scribbles and stuff we throw against the wall and it falls to the ground and we're trying to decipher what's going on. In some parts we're still clueless because we're assuming. And to believe is to be naive, is to lie to the feminine aspect of your intuition. Check the word wizardry. Telepathy, when that is on, you can't lie. Words describe images that stay, but in the cosmos, nothing really stays. So images that are descriptive by words are temporary. Shaka Zulu knew this when you watch the movie. So look at the action of people, not what they say. So I looked at, okay, Boulter's constellation is the shepherd, makes a lot of sense. Highly developed. Edgar Cayce said that the Arcturians are the highest developed race in our known galaxy. I'm not that by trend. I fell into this. I didn't really look for this. Also, you make yourself subject to ridicule. People think like, I mean, your family will think, okay, somebody flew over the cuckoo's nest and you lost your marbles. Well, I will fly and hover several times above the cuckoo's nest, just so you know. And the marbles that are lost, I'm not trying to reintegrate them because I don't think I need them. And through ayahuasca and vision questing and traveling the world, the mission protocol was always the same. Landing protocol for interdimensional scout craft to enable on the dimensional level for people to make contact with us. And some people, either in the field, whatever they're called, move on, schmoof on, this, that, and the other names, they say most of them will run because they don't have the capacity to meet their own. That requires training. So now to the deciphering why this is all Epsilonian and what Epsilon really is and what that means to me. So I looked at Epsilon, and then in the movie The Black Satellite, they actually explain and translate that somehow Enki, which is Enlil's brother, the better version, left a clue pointing back to Eridanos. That's in the Greek astrology also. There's a planet. Earth is called Eridu. Earth is also Ea, Enki, Earth, Eridu, system. Transliterated down to that word. So I'm looking at, why is this planet popping up? Eridanos. And then it says Isa. And back then, what you call Jesus, probably his name was Emmanuel, because Jesus or Jesus is Hail Zeus. Has nothing to do with the Messiah. You're using the wrong words. Why was he called Buddha Isa? Why is a messianic figure pointing back to Isa? Epsilon again. It's not in any book. I find that out. Isa, back then, written I-S-A-R, I-Z-A-R, or I-S-A. And then I looked at, okay, the planet of interest is called Eridanos. Enki Ea pointed towards that thing. It's also called Isa. It's also called Epsilon. But Lord and behold, the original name in the antique is Ra'an. See how this comes together? So I'm like, Ra'an. So I looked at my birth chart and because I always look for parallels, and if I find parallels that match, that go along with it. So because first I was doing Epsilon, and I looked at Epsilon, and it's like E5, P8, S1, K9, O3, N6, 5. These are the numerical Kabbalah codes to figure out the sum, and Epsilon is a 10. I'm like, okay, this name has been altered through time, through different perspectives. They made it a 10, which is a 1 in the void. But I'm like, okay, I find no parallel to that. I could just give you like the crazy stuff. I can't find a parallel that makes sense in my mind. So I'm like, okay, let's go to Esau. Esau, in the old writing, Esau is a 9. The Kabbalion numerical system I'm using. I'm like, okay, 9 is angelic consciousness. That's closer, but it's not nailing it. I need something that is parallel to me as I'm looking at it. This has to do with me. So everybody has their own little take of how this works. And all of a sudden I'm looking at, well, my guiding number is 33. 33 is like the number, is the Magi number, 33 vertebrae of this. But that comes from what number? 33, 3 and 3 is a 6. So my magnetic number is a 6. And I looked at where does the 6 come from, and that's my birthday, and that's a 15. That makes it an hexagon. 1 plus 5 is a 6. You always got to break down the digits, and Ra'an is identical to my birthday. And not only that, here comes the spooky deal. I looked after 50 years into the death certificate of my fathers. By intuition. I never touched the papers. And in the middle of it, it says Ra. It's not the initial of the doctor. Doctor has a different name. Signature is on the side. And in the center, it says Ra. So I see there's a line and a purpose for me being here. Also, more than half of my family in the cemetery, I'm still here. There's something going on. I call it the war on consciousness. And whatever in the past they've tried to prevent for us to grow into, to build and make contact. But let me break it down to Arcturus Ran Arcturus is here and Ran is here. So Arcturus Epsilon, over and over and over. So hence my name became, I left the N because I didn't like the N in the end. I just kept it in my mind, Arcturus Ran, and I became Arcturus Ra back then. But that has to do with Ra. And then first I thought it had to do with the 3 planets in the Orion sector. The 3 planets. Al-Nitak, Al-Nilam, and Mintaka, which also are called El-An Ra. So there's a lot of family stuff going on. And it's, mind you, it's not reptilian. It's highly developed. There's a lot of humans on this planet. They're very, very lost in their conspiracy theory and clonery and nanobots and whatnot, and who's taking over by what. They all lost in distraction. Why? They're not deciphering, and they're not developing the codes as in cities that need to be activated in the body, which is imperative. Now I'm going to the second transmission that came, and it was like freaking lightning. I watched the movie, and all of a sudden it's like it comes over me. I couldn't even do anything. So it's like Epsilon, contact. So I'll read to you what came in. Don't wait, reach out, find resources. When we are one, all shall return. Memory is in the silent center. So basically decoding that, where you get silent, social media, all of the distractions, like if you get rid of non-essential stimuli, knowledge can actually be seated and activated in you. Original memory returning, correcting the course. So it is imperative to them that the course is corrected by original memory returning and acting upon that, so we don't do it again. Setting the path. Anything that's a distraction, they bring forth. Distractions are off path. They're not on your path. Loop illusions, meaning promises, false hope, fake gifts, emptiness will bring you nothing. Will bring you no healing, will bring you no prosperity. They'll bring you an illusion, and the illusion goes deep. Like, I can promise you $1 million, you can have $1 million, you can buy a house and all of this, but you have no spiritual enlightenment. The illusion is deep on this planet. And a lot of people are very, very lost in the molasses. And the trick is to get your soul back into your body, get your original memory back, and it is okay where you're from. Your family is your family. We come from many families. Guess why we are black, brown, purple, yellow, Chinese, Caucasian, Caucasus. We were created in the image of the extraterrestrials that wanted us to look like them. So whatever race offspring we are, we look like whatever image we were created in. All the books said that, and God created humans in His likeness. We're like God. But that is beyond the physical. We got to go further out. Things that are finite are a dead end. There will be no future. You are on your way. Keep transmitting. So they're telling me I'm on my way. I shall transmit. Those who are in the knowledge will respond and be of aid. They won't question you. They know what's to be done. They know what pieces to be put together. You can't convince them. You can't. I'm just bringing that in. I'm just giving you the sentence here that those who know will be of aid. The others, they will not turn on. There's nothing you can do that'll activate them into anything. Their sole purpose, they will know that you will be in their mind. You will cycle in their mind. There will be a contact. There will be a force coming. There will be a reprogram and reset taking place where they will keep the memory. They will not forget their life, and they will be in place to do exactly what they need to be doing. So certain souls have to respond a certain way to me. For then I know by telepathy, you are my family. This is the time. Do not knock on closed gates. It's the same thing as saying don't knock on closed doors. Whatever won't open for you, won't open for you. So don't look in the places that are actually non-essential to you. What else? Open is the path. It is small though. It's thin as a thread. You step off, you're off. It's not easy. Information seems chaotic, but there is a system behind it. Only those that are clear may see. So whatever they do in front of you, all of this here, when you have your third eye activated and open, and certain people have the vision to see that other side, you'll be fine. You'll see what's in front of you. You'll see what needs to be activated. We require consciousness to be trained in a divine way. And this is an ancient way that's beyond any religious books. There's something, a knowingness, knowing how to apply that. Only divine experience decodes what is hidden. So when you basically have a divine experience and make a divine choice, not free will, but divine will, the hidden will be revealed. Only then. And you can't bypass that. There are universal laws that are above your books. Like there's a law of correspondence. Check the Kybalion by the 3 initiates. It has nothing to do with AI. There are certain rules and divine laws how cellular intelligence, life force, divine beings have left that in our gene codes, and we need to remember. And it's not war, it's not manipulation, it's not needing to do something to get something, but at ease attracting in a divine purpose what is the rite of passage, what is supposed to be with you and for you in life and in harmony. A rotten seed doesn't make a healthy tree. Remember that. It's impossible. Linear time is slow to us. These are the Arcturians, and I'll break that down in a minute. It almost feels like suspended animation for us. So the time we're in, to them, it's like nothing is really moving. That's why for us, it's millions of years. To them, this can be a short amount of time. This is about consciousness on your planet. Expansion, refinement, and amplification. So again, they're very clear to stay away from the distractions and the conspiracy and who's run by what not. You'll see who's who by the fruits of their labor. There will be beings that have gardens with fruit that will nourish people, and there will be people that won't. There will be people that need help, and they will be helped. But there will be those who discuss the evolution and the process, not understanding there's a thing that's called natural intelligence, and we're not overriding that. And that's how you come here, that's how you leave, and that nothing changes that. Because all of this talk about this conspiracy is a distraction that you got to step away from. If that doesn't have a direct influence on your life, stay away from that. Then they say again, whatever you are going through, you don't have to do it alone. Always remember, don't wait, reach out, look for resources. And the end sentence is, when nothing is done, revelation remains dormant. Transmission ends. So it's a little bit different than from what you have seen in my broadcast. So I know now this is an Epsilonian transmission, and I'll make it now my focus to bring in more Epsilonian transmissions, which is Arcturian. So I know the race that I'm from are called the Oran Yale. And Yale, as in Yael, means those with the ears, in a funny way. And they, how do I put it? They have a sister group, which I discovered on the Blind Frog Ranch, and the image will be displayed in a minute, where we found out these are the Layuna Yale, or Lanoi to short, and also those with long necks and ears. And they parked a survey ship under the Blind Frog Ranch 1 million years ago, terraformed the top, and waiting for the time for they can return, and the returner will bring the ship to the surface and activate. And that has already begun. Watch Blind Frog Mysteries on Discovery Channel. So how this all works together, you see how this is all connected, how this makes sense. And I find pieces that make sense to me, and with that we go forward. And thank you for watching the Epsilon transmissions. Peace, and I most certainly will see you on the flip side. Ron.